Lewiston City Council will come to order. It's a regular meeting, March 23rd, 2026, at the time and place as advertised. Our first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. If you please stand and join us in reciting our pledge, and we'll wait. You're going to wait till you get up here, Counselor.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Counselor. Next order of business is citizen comments. This is an opportunity for individuals wishing to comment on agenda items or other matters they wish to bring to the council's attention, excluding those scheduled for a public hearing. As there may not be another opportunity to comment once an agenda item is addressed, individuals are encouraged to speak at this time. Individuals are encouraged to discuss operational issues in advance with the mayor in consideration of others wishing to speak. Commentary is limited to 3 minutes, and we have a shot clock up there, so that's how we're going to keep track of things. Yeah, and so I know. And so with that, we'll open it up for citizen comments. Please introduce yourself for the record. Name and city of residence. The floor is yours. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Laura Wright, and I'm at 1522 Stable Court here in Lewiston. Good evening, Mayor Johnson and councilors. Can you hear me? Is it still too loud? Oh, there we go. Sorry. Good evening, Mayor Johnson and councilors. My name is Laura Wright, and I've been serving on the Public Works Advisory Commission for the last 3 years. I've truly enjoyed the work, and I feel like I've made a good contribution to the commission. We have discussed and worked on many items, everything from budget to traffic calming, to stormwater, the reservoir, capital improvement, the Highway 12 bridge stormwater drainage, the Main Street project, street preservation program, the city engineering standards, and many other items. And I know there are many other items to come forward before the commission. I'm very fortunate because my background, I've spent 25 years in the public service, public service, working in the Public Works Department, the city manager's office. And prior to all that, I worked in the hazardous waste industry for over 8 years. So with that background, it's given me a lot of opportunity to kind of understand the subject matters coming before the Public Works Advisory Commission, as well as to be able to make a contribution and provide some good feedback, I hope, to the commission, as well as to all of you here. I have submitted my application for to be considered for reappointment tonight, and I understand I'm under for consideration. So I hope you will consider my reappointment and approve my application. Thank you.
Thank you for being here tonight, Laura. Appreciate it very much. Thank you. Are there further citizen comments tonight? Seeing none, we'll move on to presentations. Roman numeral 4, Council. Item A, financial report for the period ending February 28, 2026. In accordance with Idaho Code 50-208, no oral report unless you have questions. Hearing none, we'll move on to Roman number 5. Public hearings and related action items. Item A, public hearing on zoning amendment ZA-04-25 wireless communication facilities, accepting testimony and proposed amendments to Lewiston City Code Chapter 37 Zoning Code Article 17 regarding application procedures and review timelines in accordance with House Bill number 180 that amended Chapter 65 Title 67 of Idaho Code regarding telecommunication facilities and broadband infrastructure. This is an action item, and we have our assistant city planner with us here tonight, Ms. Katie Hollingshead. Katie, welcome. Please introduce yourself. For the record, I'll open the public hearing before you do that. I'm getting ahead of myself here, but thank you. Council, I'll open the public hearing. We'll have staff presentation, and we'll accept testimony from the public if there is any. Council, you will have an opportunity to ask questions of staff or any public testimony. No additional evidence or testimony may be received once the public hearing is closed, so that will be your time to ask any questions that you may have. After that, we will close the public hearing. So with that, I will open the public hearing and turn it over to Katie Hollingshead. Welcome, Katie.
Good evening, Council. Katie Hollingshead, Assistant Planner. So tonight in front of you, for the second time, is ZA 04-25. This is in regards to our wireless communication facility section of code. We're looking to update to match state code as it was updated last year by the legislature. So this was reviewed by this body at your work session earlier this month. So hopefully you were able to review the code in its entirety following that meeting. So I'll go over kind of the high points, much like we did previously, and let me know if you have any specific questions. So House Bill 180 was passed by the legislature last year. It added some definitions and time limits. And so we're trying to incorporate those into Lewiston City Code. So our current code is called Wireless Communication Facility Regulations. We're going to amend that to be Telecommunication Facility Regulations, so that again, it matches that telecommunication facilities and broadband infrastructure as called out in state code. So you'll see that is the majority of the change, is the number of times that that is reiterated over and over again within our code. We are also adding broadband infrastructure, and broadband provider as definitions into our code so that they match the state code. The two timeline items that are updating are in regards to, let me get to the page. Sorry, what I provide you guys is different than what comes in that big packet, so I am trying to do it in the big packet so I can give you the correct page number. So under conditional use permits for towers, so this is on page 30 of your packet. So this is under H, conditional use permits for towers. So this changes so that we have 30 days to hold a public hearing once we've been notified of an application for a conditional use permit for a tower. So that's to install a new tower, which requires a conditional use permit. Further, there were also some reductions in time from 30 days to 21 days for some different review areas. For the most part, city code is more restrictive on staff when it comes to reviews than state code is, and even more so, our actual timelines for reviews are more restrictive than what is called out in code. Most of our review times are 14 days, not the 21 days, but for code purposes, they are called out as 21 days. So like I said, we have the two areas where we are changing from 30 to 21 so that it matches state code. And then there is also the tolling. So this would be on page 34 of your packet for applications. This is co-location applications, changing it from a 90-day to a 60-day tolling period. So tolling means that you start the clock with a complete application to do the review and any other paperwork basically that you have to do. So those are the changes. Again, the 30 days to 21 days, and then the tolling changes, and then adding that 30-day window of time for a public hearing to be scheduled and held for a tower specifically. And I would stand for questions.
Thank you, Katie. Let's see if there are any citizen comments tonight. Doesn't look like it. Council, do you have questions for? Doesn't look like we have any questions. Katie, no questions from the public. No testimony. Thank you for your presentation. Council, with that,
Thank you.
that council, I will close the public hearing. Next on our agenda item is number B. First reading of ordinance 4961, considering amending Lewiston City Code Chapter 37, Article 17 to revise terminology from wireless communication facilities to telecommunications facilities, adding additional definitions to Lewiston City Code Section 37-216, and making other related amendments. This is an action item.
Mayor,
Councilor Spicklemeyer,
motion to approve the first reading of ordinance number 4961.
Second.
it's been moved by Councilor Spicklemeyer, seconded by Councilor Klein to approve the first reading of ordinance number 4961. Is there discussion or amendments? And those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Clerk Rocky?
Approving the first reading of ordinance 4961, an ordinance of the City of Lewiston amending Lewiston City Code, Chapter 37, Article 17, to revise terminology from wireless communication facilities to telecommunications facilities, adding additional definitions to Lewiston City Code, Section 37-216, making other related amendments, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, Clerk Rocky. Council, next we have Roman numeral 6, consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are considered routine by the council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these issues unless the council so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered on the active agenda under items moved from the consent agenda. Council?
Mr.
Right.
Mayor, thank you. I'd like to pull the voucher payables off the consent agenda. I have a question on it.
Second.
Council, any other items to remove from the consent agenda? If not, I would entertain a motion. Councilor Klein,
Motion to approve the consent agenda
Second.
as amended. Councilor,
as amended.
as amended?
Yep.
Okay. Been moved by Councilor Klein, second by Councilor Tricklemeyer to approve the consent agenda as amended. Clerk Rocky?
Council President Kleberg,
Aye.
Councilor Wright,
Aye.
Councilor Forsman. Aye. Councilor Klein.
Aye.
Councilor Maury.
Aye.
Councilor Spiegelmeier.
Aye.
Thank you, Council. Next up, Roman numeral 7, active agenda. Item A, Advisory Board and Commission appointments. Public Works Advisory Commission, considering reappointing Laura Wright to 3-year term beginning March 27, 2026, the end of her current term. 3 years. Councilors, I can tell you, Ms. Wright came to my office. We spent about a half an hour talking about her interest in this committee and her work previously in her employment. Yeah, she seems very capable, very excited, has a lot of interest, a lot of ideas for public works. So I am very supportive of this application. I would move to approve the reappointment of Laura Wright to a 3-year term beginning March 27, 2026 on the Public Works Advisory Commission.
Second.
Been moved by Mayor Johnson, second by Councilor Forsman to approve the reappointment of Laura Wright to a 3-year term beginning March 27, 2026 on the Public Works Advisory Commission. We need to have a vote on this. Comment, please.
Okay. I served on the board with her for that, pretty much the part of that 3 years. And she's very dedicated and has a lot of good insight to bring to the board, especially from her prior experience. And so I am also fully in support of her continuing her service on that board.
Thank you, Counselor. No further comments. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And she's left. Thank you, Council. Next, we have item B, Resolution 2026-11, concerning approving a State of Idaho Department of Environmental Quality Emerging Contaminants Funding Offer, acceptance agreement for wastewater facilities design and construction for loan project number WW2602EC. This is an action item, and we have our Public Works Director with us here tonight, Dustin Johnson. Welcome, Director.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, Dustin Johnson, Public Works Director. What's in front of you tonight is, as the Mayor already outlined, the Emerging Contaminants Grant. This is the same category of grant that we previously received for the water treatment plant, taking well number 4 offline and dealing with the alkalinity on that one. So kind of between the consultants and city staff recognize this is probably an underutilized grant funding program through the state of Idaho that we took advantage of. This is specifically for the East Orchard Sewer. projects, and the way that has functioned up there, that is the URA district. And so the URA has identified multiple projects. And so as the money becomes available, they coordinate with engineering and wastewater, and we design and construct those lengths of pipe. So this is for 1.5 million. We'll start the design and work with the URA and our engineering consultant. And fortunately, our URA expert here is available to answer any questions you may have on the history of the East Orchard sewer that I can't answer. So with that, we stand for questions.
Thank you, Director. Council, questions for Director Johnson or anyone else? Councilor Spickelmeyer.
Thank you, Mayor. So Director, I was looking through here in the list and it said that with the city matches 150,000, right?
Yeah,
And,
which is 10% of the 1.5 million.
or 1.5, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and in the write-up, it stated that there was going to be a $500,000 amendment to the budget.
Yeah, so since we're not gonna spend all that money this year, we'll spend it in future fiscal years. So we'll amend the budget with that $500,000 in revenue with the offset of the expense that we're gonna spend for the design moving forward on it.
So is the city's portion already in the FY26 budget?
No, that will be the amended portion.
Okay. Thank you.
But all of that revenue will be offset either by the grant or the URA. So there's net zero to the city or the wastewater enterprise fund.
Councilors, you have Resolution 2026-11 before you. Councilor Wright.
Motion to approve Resolution 2026-11.
Second.
Been moved by Councilor Wright, second by Councilor Forsman to approve Resolution 2026-11. Clerk Rocky.
Council President Kleberg,
Aye.
Councilor Wright,
Aye.
Councilor Forsman,
Aye.
Councilor Klein,
Aye.
Councilor Maury,
Aye.
Councilor Spickelmeyer.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Council. Thank you, Director and Clerk Rocky. Next, we move to item C, Resolution 2026-12, considering authorizing the dedication of city-owned property as public right-of-way, roadway, utility, and other utility purpose located near the northwest corner of 5th Street, Brighton Avenue. This is an action item, and once again, we have our Public Works Director, Dustin Johnson. Welcome, Director.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. These next two items are kind of some housekeeping issues. And so as you have had, well, I should say we've had these conversations over many years regarding to maybe underutilized city-owned properties. And some of these properties need to be cleaned up with various easements or lacks of rights of way. And so that's what this one is. So this is that intersection of 5th and Bryden. I pulled up, this was in your packet that just shows the map so I could show a little bit better than what I can describe. But the design is complete for at least this section of Bryden. And that intersection, anybody who drives that understands that 5th and Bryden is a busy intersection. And so if the council desires to sell this property sometime down the road, we would like to make sure that the city has dedicated the right-of-way that's necessary. For whatever reason, if the design changes for whatever reason and we don't need that right-of-way, we can bring it back at a later date. It's just while the city owns this property, it's much easier and cheaper to dedicate the right of way right now, especially in these two examples that we'll talk about tonight that are, we know the limits of it. So with that, I stand for questions.
Thank you, Director. Council, questions? Councilor Wright.
Yeah, just a curiosity on the overall project. So is there a particular side of the road in the design when you go down Bryden, or is it kind of back and forth on the two sides?
That's, it's generally just widening it out. There are segments that are inherently where you can see buildings that are closer. So the right of way is not uniform down Bryden, especially if you drive in it regularly, you'll see that it jogs in and out. But generally, it just, the design that we have finished for the 5-lane section is just bringing out another lane out. And I do have scheduled, it is an April 20th, I believe, a work session that I'll bring back to the council for kind of a deeper dive as far as the discussion of where Bryden's at in the design, where we are financially in funding that project, and kind of where we want to go forward. And then there was a 3-lane section analysis to see what were could it operate as a 3-lane section versus the 5-lane that has been designed. So I guess the answer would be stay tuned.
Perfect. Thank you.
Councilors, you have Resolution 2026-12 before you.
Mayor,
Councilor Klein.
motion to approve Resolution 2026-12.
Second.
Been moved by Councilor Klein, seconded by Council President Kleber to approve Resolution 2026-12. Clerk Brockie.
Council President Kleber,
Aye.
Councilor Wright,
Aye.
Councilor Forsman,
Aye.
Councilor Klein,
Aye.
Councilor Maury,
Aye.
Councilor Spiegelmeier.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Council. Next, we have Resolution 2026-14, item D, considering authorizing the dedication of city-owned property as public right-of-way, roadway utility, and any other public purpose to connect Mayfair Drive and Preston Avenue. This is an action item, and once again, we have our Public Works Director, Dustin Johnson. Welcome, Director.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. So again, housekeeping on this one. In the history sheet, there was a discussion of Mayfair. So this is a fully developed subdivision that comes up, and there is no true, what I would call like a cul-de-sac or fire turnaround. It's pushing the limits for what is available. There's, I think, 1 or 2 lots that are not built in here. We had a question from a developer that wanted to build that. We worked with the fire marshal to, the city owns this land, this parcel. I think it is a remnant from when Bryden Canyon was built. There's been some conversations over the years of, is this a developable lot? Could we use it to either trade or sell? And so with the interest in development on the Mayfair, and then of course Preston, which is kind of in a similar situation this way, city staff sat down with engineering and the surveyor to determine what do we need to keep Mayfair and Preston in compliance for fire code, while at the same time keeping any developable rights for this segment here available for, if it's a city or if it's a other private developer, to keep that parcel whole. And again, as we said with the last parcel, when the city owns it, we can dedicate the right of way. We don't have to buy it, and then we can turn around and sell it, trade it, or develop it ourselves. So that city, as I am not aware of, as I am aware, have no plans for development on this parcel at this time. Just again, kind of cleaning things up. So I stand for questions.
Thank you, Director. Councilor Wright.
Thank you. And the intent is just to connect from the end of Mayfair Drive to Preston.
Correct. That would serve as a secondary access out of this subdivision that's already built. And I guess I should say, it looks like it could just come here and go north, or I guess that's east. This is a significant hill. And so that's why Mayfair is extended and you have a turn, to come up this slope. And so it's not as easy as simply just coming off of Preston. You go really quick, but we wanted to make sure people could get in and out of that.
So you got to do that whole.
Yep, you got a
loop.
dog leg around it.
Thank you.
Councilor Klein.
Is this the piece that's jointly owned with the county?
I am not aware of that.
Okay, it's a different piece then.
Counselor Klein, to answer your question,
It is not.
it is co-owned with the county.
Oh, this is the airport property, yeah. I'm only here for the survey and stuff.
Follow up then.
Councilor Klein.
Has this already been approved with the county? Are they okay with us doing this right away?
We have submitted the request to the county prosecutor's office. I sent them all the documents related to it. But we technically don't require their permission to dedicate our interest in the property to the public. It just doesn't fully guarantee the public's interest in it because the county still has their interest that needs to be dedicated.
Counselor Klein,
Motion to approve Resolution 2026-14.
Second.
been moved by Counselor Klein, seconded by Counselor Wright to approve Resolution 2026-14. Clerk Brockie?
Council President Kleberg,
Aye.
Counselor Wright,
Aye.
Counselor Forsman.
Aye.
Counselor Klein,
Aye.
Counselor Maury,
Aye.
Counselor Spiegelmeier.
Aye.
Thank you, Council. Item is item E, bid award for IFB-26-012, considering awarding IFB-26-012 2026 street preservation ceiling fog coat project to Pose Asphalt Paving, Inc. in the amount of $1,037,213.95, and authorizing the mayor to sign the agreement. And we have our Public Works Director here. Welcome, Director.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, Dustin Johnson, Public Works Director. So in front of you, this is what we do, pavement preservation, and so we put this out annually. We go through and rate our roads, and basically the science behind what we try to do is to keep the good roads good and then deal with the bad roads later. And so when we talk about reconstruction, that means those roads have gone to a point where they're not, you can't just put a fog coat on top of that. And so fog coats keep water out of it. Water is the enemy of good roads. So this one went out. This is a local contractor we're familiar with. You'll notice it's an interesting, they were over engineer's estimate by 4%. So that's pretty tight. So pretty happy with the bid. We have another one that will be coming down the line as soon as we get the contract language put in with it, but they're a different contractor. So with that, I stand for questions.
Thank you, Director. Council, questions?
Yeah.
Councilor Spiegelmeier?
Thank you, Mayor. So, Director, I was looking at the map here. Can you kind of go over I see some rhyme or reason to some of the spots it's going to be seal coated, but then there's little pieces of like half a block or how do they decide? Does Public Works drive around and pick?
Yeah, so every road has a pavement condition index, a PCI index number. And so anything below, I'd say 60 is where we're talking about reconstruct or mill and overlay. And so we evaluate all of those. And so, yeah, it's generally, it'll be interesting, not to get off on a side tangent, but AI, where you can start grouping these things together, because that's what we try to do is, you don't want to impact, because they get paid by, the hours. And so if we're spreading them across town, so typically, was it last year or the year before, we did North Lewiston. So you try and group them by neighborhoods, but inevitably, I didn't put that map together myself, but usually you'll have a new street cut. And so we want to steal that over from a couple years ago. And so every now and then you'll get those oddball short lengths of blocks or half a road because something was done to that road 2 years ago. And so you want to come back and reseal it after the construction. So that's probably what that is, but I'd have to go back and look at it. But yeah, you try and group them together in neighborhoods.
Thank you.
It makes it cheaper on traffic control too.
Councilor Forsman?
I see there's a time range. Contractor shall select a date for seal coat and fog coat works items to be completed between June 4, 2026 and August 28, 2026 within 10 working days. If the weather, what is the weather temperature environment supposed to be like in order to perform that? Because I know we've had delays due to weather is not panning out.
Yeah, optimum is hot. So that's why we typically do this in the heat of the summer, which is everybody tries to do. So we put these bids out early February and get these locked in early, because that's, if you drive around in the summer in Idaho, that's construction season. So chip seals and fog coats. So yeah, we do, the contract language gives them 2 months so they can be flexible and match other projects that they have in their schedule. Inevitably, there will be a rainstorm. And so typically we notice, if it's business accesses, if it's driveways, we will notify the neighborhood or the businesses, hey, heads up, on this week, we're scheduled to do it. And inevitably we'll get a rain day. And so then we got to go back and recontact everybody and say, our schedule's been pushed back 2 days or a week or whatever else. And so that's not fun, because that's why June or July and August, you get fewer rain days. And so you can better predict it, and you're usually typically in the 90s or hundreds at those temperatures, and so you can kind of just roll along. But yeah, we've had a couple of years where we do have rain days that you just have to work around. But the goal is to let the contractor work within the confines of the contract, but then let city staff and traffic control kind of do our best to get out in front of, let the citizens know, because it's difficult because people don't like to be caught off guard.
Follow up, Mayor.
Counselor Forsman?
So I hear the 90 to 100, so is that pretty much the range you want to be in Fahrenheit?
Yeah, anything over 70 is good. I mean, what ends up happening, if it's too cold, that stuff sets up too fast. If it's too hot, it gets way too slurry, so, or runny. And then, of course, you've got the equipment, the trucks, and you're constantly monitoring temperature as that stuff goes down. I'm more familiar with paving. I'm not too much of a preservation person, but you go out there and you'll see people with the heat guns trying to track the temperature of the material going down. And then, of course, the ground, if it froze last night, it absorbs that heat really quick, so you don't want that. But there's a full testing that goes with all of this stuff. So we take samples of the oil that goes down and record all the temperatures as it's going on throughout the day. And then it's covered by warranty. So every year, there's always, in the beginning, it's usually at the tail end of the season where you get bad oil, bad temperatures, something like that. I'm not saying any of these contractors, it just inevitably happens as we're trying to close out the season. But yeah, you're just constantly monitoring that, doing the best you can. And I will say, if you drive around town, and I'll point them out, there's a couple areas where we have had bad batches that come out, and they're noticeable. It looks like somebody kind of finger painted down the street, and it didn't adhere to the street.
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to prevent.
Councilors, further questions? Counselor Wright?
Motion to approve resolution, motion to award IFB-26-012 2026 Street Preservation Seal and Fog Coat Project to Pose Asphalt Paving, Inc. in the amount of $1,037,213.95 and authorizing the mayor to sign the agreement.
Second.
Been moved by Counselor Wright, seconded by Council President Kleber to award IFB-26-012 2026 Street Preservation Seal and Fog Coat Project to Pose Asphalt Paving, Inc. in the amount of $1,037,213.95 and authorizing the mayor to sign the agreement. Clerk Rocky?
Council President Kleberg,
Aye.
Councilor Wright,
Aye.
Councilor Forsman,
Aye.
Councilor Klein,
Aye.
Councilor Maury,
Aye.
Councilor Spiegelmeier.
Aye.
Thank you, Council. Thank you, Clerk Rocky and Director Johnson. Next, we move to item F, change order number 7 for wastewater improvement project WW060. Considering approving change order number 7 for the wastewater improvement project WW060 with Titan Technologies, Inc. in the amount of $320,700 and authorizing the mayor to sign the change order. This is an action item, and once again, we have our Public Works Director, Dustin Johnson. Welcome, Director.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Dustin Johnson, Public Works Director. Save the best for last, the most confusing one. So anytime you're in change order number 7, that means there's probably a couple stories to tell along the way. I'll do my best to be concise and efficient. Essentially, this contract was awarded to Titan in, looks like March of 2024, so 2 years ago. Titan is a unique contractor. They come to the valley and they do what we call trenchless technology. And so we bid a wastewater project as whole. We need this pipe size to be replaced by this pipe size. And typically, most of the contractors locally are what we call trenched, traditional, dig it up, replace the line. What Titan does is they pipe burst. They push a pipe through and burst the pipe, and so they can expand it. It's a less intrusive technology, and it also gives them I guess, an advantage in that not a lot of people locally, especially at this size, can do that. So they bid it. They've been a contractor that's done work in the valley here for many years, a lot of work for the city. And not to say that they, other contractors have come in and done it when they're not available or not interested or aren't competitive in other bids. This particular one, going back to 2024, they bid, it's kind of like pavement preservation that we just talked about. They just bid basins. And so the way wastewater's master plan, we've identified different basins within the city that just need either the pipes to be addressed, fixed, same size, but just fixed, or pipe bursted and enlarged. And so they go through these basins, and they're done by pipe priorities. And so you just tick down this list. And so they bid that in 2024. They awarded it. And then at that point, there was a component of that included Snake River Avenue. And that was when we were dealing with the Corps. We couldn't quite get the easements to come in. And so there was one of the change orders that said, hey, let's take Snake River Avenue off of the table. We'll do this other basin instead, and we'll get this going. And so that's what I think change order number 2 was. And so as we work through this, there was a change order no, that was change order number 1. Change order number 2 was another change of conditions, just to pipe those sags. Change order number 3, now we were able to get that easement. So we added that back into the contract. So just as confusing as it can be, we took it out and then we put it back in here. And so evolving over time, most of these 4 through 6 are just changes in condition. So you're going out there, you're finding one pipe that we thought was straight. What you don't want in pipe segments are sags, because that collects water at the bottom of the sag. We didn't see it in our analysis, and so they came and said, we'll dig up this segment because we can't pipe burst it. And so that's what a lot of these change orders are. Change order number 7 that's in front of you tonight was, this is more or less a change order of opportunity. Once we got into Snake River Avenue, which where we're at right now, this change order was added to this agenda at the very absolute last moment, because we're working on it right now. So the work had already started. The slope, as you're digging through that, what looked like happened was they originally constructed that line along Snake River Avenue as you're going by CCI, and then you've got the cliffs, and then you've got the roundabout. What looks like happened, this was before the levees and before the dams, it looks like they were digging in it, and that's all basalt. Kind of, if you can see that cliff, it's kind of similar right there. And so I don't know how they excavated it, but they got the trench down there, threw the sewer line in there, and then backfilled it with whatever they could find. So when they did the pipe burst, the trench was too tight, and so they couldn't pipe burst it. So then that meant that they had to excavate it by hand. Or not hand, but they had to excavate it instead of pipe bursting it. So that necessitated the change order. And now that we're looking at it, we're starting to see the slope slough into the pipe. And so that's causing more just constructability on that. So while we have the access with the Corps, we have the pipes on hand, and we have the trenches open, the street is closed. We're requesting that we just complete that job and run that sewer line upgrade all the way to CCI, which is basically the biggest contributor at that service line coming in right at their front door. And so complete it to that, and then everything from basically CCI to 11th is basically done. And so then that will be put to bed. We don't have to deal with that ever again. So that's the intent of what we would like to do. Everything else will be beyond the limits of the street. Councilor Wright caught me at the Public Works Advisory Committee last week and saying, well, what's this going to do to the budget? And so, very good question in that the capital with wastewater, we've got 2 big projects, upgrading our shop, consolidating collections, and the treatment plant. So that's a multi-million-dollar project that's going on at the plant. And then the headworks, which is also a $10, $15, $20 million project out of the plant. Those are the only projects that are left on the master plan for the plant upgrades. Everything else is within the distribution center, collection center, I should say. And so we just go basin by basin. And so, as I said, this basin will cost us a little bit more. We'll move to the next basin, design that one, budget accordingly. And so it's not going to impact us. As we said, there's quite a bit of money sitting in the funds for capital improvements over the next 2 or 3 years. This will probably alter our rollout probably in 27, 28. So that was a lot of words. I will stop now, gave you the whole history lesson, but I stand for questions.
Thank you, Director. Counselors, questions? Counselor Wright?
Yeah, I'm just, so when it comes to the pipe bursting versus the digging and, you know, replacing it like we have ended up in that scenario, do we keep track of these to see if, you know, in the long run, pipe bursting is working in our favor or working against us cost-wise?
Yeah, we track, I mean, every project, every aspect of, you know, dollar per foot or hours, you know, and, you know, a lot of this stuff starts extrapolating on, you know, because this one will cost us a lot because the pavement on Snake River Avenue has sunk in there. So now we'll be tearing out or replacing pavement on that. Overall, this has saved a significant amount of money. And I could bring, you know, the examples of the bid tabs of what because we estimated traditional trenching, and they're usually, I don't want to say half, but pretty close to half of the cost of digging these up. So it doesn't take a lot of this trenchless stuff to save the money. And a lot of it, I mean, it's the case in point was we've been doing a lot in neighborhoods. And so when you're doing this trenchless, you basically dig up one manhole, the point, and then you pull it through. And so you're only impacting one area versus where you dig the whole street, you're impacting every residence or business along the way. And so it's a significant cost, but it's also a significant time and impact. So I think the secondary issues kind of make it far outweigh the trenched traditional style of construction.
Okay, thank you.
Counselor Forsman?
Like a scope to go down there and kind of get an idea of what we're working with, right?
Yep, yeah, we TV all our lines.
Pretty limited view as far as seeing the full picture sometimes.
What's that?
It's pretty limited view as far as seeing the pictures sometimes, so I'm assuming that's why, once you started opening it, you started seeing.
Yeah, because the TV only gives you the condition of the inside of the pipe. And sometimes we can't even get to it because if there's sag, I mean, we do stormwater and we do wastewater. And so sometimes the pipe is degraded so much that we don't feel comfortable putting a TV camera in there. But it won't tell you the condition of the bedding material behind you. And so like a lot of times, we'll have to do some show and tell, but to show you sinkholes will form and you won't be able to see that from the pipe because they're outside of the sinkhole. But every now and then, if the pipe has collapsed, you can look up and then see daylight. So, you know, but yeah, you can't see the bedding material or anything from the inside of the pipe.
But I just wanted to make sure there wasn't anything we could have done to try to kind of not have so many changeovers, but it sounds.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
pretty
these
limited.
change orders were, there's two, I was saying earlier to staff, there's two reasons for a change order. One is the change of conditions. We didn't realize the pipe would be so rotten. Or the other one, which is a lot of what this is, a change order of opportunity where, you know, it was a change of conditions, so the slope left off, and so now we have to excavate. But since we're excavating, we might as well just keep going and finish this length of pipe.
Thank you.
Counselor Spicklemeyer?
Thank you, Mayor. So Director, did you say that as soon as Titan gets to basically Brighton Canyon, that will be the completion of Titan's contract on this one?
Yes. I say that there will probably be, we were talking earlier, there will probably be one more change order because there's always a closeout change order where your quantities are it could be a deduct, it's usually an addition where they run extra. So I'm not saying there won't be another change order, but this contract that's 3 years old, we want to close that out and bid out the next basins. But yes, that once we get to this end of the Snake River Avenue stuff.
That's kind of confusing, the wording in here. It's stated that the project's been going on for the last few fiscal years and is intended to continue into fiscal year 26. I was wondering if that was a typo. It meant 27.
We are pushing to close this at 26. It may, I mean, the way construction projects go, there may be a tail that goes into 27 because we're in March now, but I believe we should be finished in 26.
Counselor Wright?
Motion to approve change order number 7 for the Lewiston wastewater improvement project, WW060, with Titan Technologies, Inc. in the amount of $320,700 and authorizing the mayor to sign the change order.
Second.
Been moved by Counselor Wright, second by Counselor Forsman to approve change order number 7 for the Lewiston wastewater improvement project, WW060, with Titan Technologies, Inc. in the amount of $320,700 and authorizing the mayor to sign the change. Clerk Rocky.
Council President Kleber,
Aye.
Counselor Wright,
Aye.
Counselor Forsman,
Aye.
Counselor Klein,
Aye.
Counselor Maury,
Aye.
Counselor Spiegelmeier.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you, Council. Thank you, Director Johnson and Clerk Rocky. Council, next up, we have item G, ordinances. Number 1, first reading, A, ordinance 4958, considering amending Lewiston City Code Section 21-2 related to the definitions of vendors, Lewiston City Code Sections 21-66 and 21-69 related to the regulation of temporary vendors, Lewiston City Code Section 21-73, and Chapter 21, Article 11 related to the regulation of mobile vendors, and amending Lewiston City Code Section 31-74 relating to temporary uses of right-of-way by mobile vendors. This is an action item. We don't have a presentation tonight unless you have questions, councilors, but as a reminder, this came before you at the March 2nd, 2025 work session, and it basically addresses our city code where mobile vendor services did not include certain types of activities and on private property. So this aims to Councilor Spiegelmeier.
Motion to approve the first reading of ordinance number 4958. Second.
Been moved by Councilor Spiegelmeier, seconded by Council President Kleber to approve the first reading of ordinance number 4958. Is there discussion or amendments? Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Clerk Rocky.
Approving the first reading of City Ordinance Number 4958, an ordinance of the City of Lewiston amending Lewiston City Code Section 21-2 related to the definitions of vendors, Lewiston City Code Sections 21-66 and 21-69 related to the regulation of temporary vendors, Lewiston City Code Section 21-73, and Chapter 21, Article 11 related to the regulation of mobile vendors, and amending Lewiston City Code Section 31-74 relating to temporary uses of the right-of-way by mobile vendors and providing an effective date.
Clerk Rocky. Councilors, next we move to Roman numeral 8, items moved from the consent agenda. Vouchers payable. Councilor Wright.
Thank you. So it's on 47, page 47 of our packet. It is one of 9 on the vouchers payable. And it is 4th one down, the Albertsons Companies, Inc. Employee Flu Shot Clinic for $4,936. And it probably just a lack of my understanding here, but I thought flu shots were free, so that's why I wanted to bring this one up.
Thank you, Councilor. And it looks like we have our Finance Director here with us tonight, Amy Gordon, to help us with some of these questions.
Thank you, Mayor. Amy Gordon, City Treasurer. The flu shot is free to the employees, but the city is the one sponsoring the flu shot. So we pay for a pharmacy to come and provide those shots to employees at the work site.
Why do we do that?
I don't have the background on that. That'd be a question for our HR department, and we can ask them to follow up with you tomorrow.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
And I'll make certain that the email goes out to the entire council.
Thanks.
Or I might be able to answer that for you here a little bit more. If I can get to there. So, councilors, if I can read this to you. This is from our HR Director, Nikki Province, and this was emailed to me this morning at 8:31, and she's responding, I think, maybe to Councilor Spiegelmeier. She said, Councilor, we offer the flu shot clinic and COVID vaccine to not only benefit eligible employees, but part-time employees as well, which is why it doesn't come from the health trust. Additionally, this is a budgeted line item in human resources and has been for many years. To clarify, just because the employee has a $0 copay for preventive vaccines doesn't mean there isn't a cost for the vaccine. The insurance carrier, or in our case, our health trust, pays the cost. By expanding the clinic to include our non-benefit eligible employees, we're choosing to pay for it out of our HR budget rather than out of the health trust, but we would be paying for it nonetheless. And then let me know if you have some questions.
No, thank you, that helps. I'll think on that. Thanks, appreciate it.
That's a good question. Counselor, do you have any other questions on vouchers payable?
No, I don't, Mr. Mayor. Motion to approve vouchers payable?
Been moved by Counselor Wright, second by Counselor Forsman to approve vouchers payable. Clerk Rocky?
Council President Kleberg,
Aye.
Counselor Wright,
Aye.
Counselor Forsman,
Aye.
Counselor Klein. Aye. Counselor Maury,
Aye.
Counselor Spickelmeyer.
Aye.
Thank you, Council. Next up, Roman numeral 9, unfinished and new business. Item A, City Councilor comments. Comments shall not be related to an item currently before the City Council, an item that may come before the Council in the foreseeable future and shall be limited to comments, not discussion.
Mayor.
Councilor Forsman?
There is proposed updates to the city engineering standards. The City of Lewiston Engineering Division is pleased to announce proposed updates to several key development and infrastructure documents and encourage the public to review and provide feedback.
Counselor? Further counselor comments? No? Okay. Item B, City Boards and Commissions, liaison updates. Counselors?
Mayor.
Counselor Forsman?
I only had one so far from the Urban Renewal Agency. And we're having the DEQ come and speak at our next meeting to give some updates on some water hill quality readings regarding the groundwater nitrate levels at Lindsay Creek watershed. My other one, disability advisory, was canceled.
Counselor Wright?
Thank you. The Lewiston Nez Perce County Regional Airport Authority met, and we had a few different items on here. First one I've got that wasn't on their list, just a question I had was the TSA Real ID, how that was going. They've had no delays or interruptions, and they said it's been going great. And then I haven't kept up on the government shutdown, so it could be different as of today, but during the meeting, they were asking for the TSA donations. They'd be opening that up this month because they haven't been paid in over a month. And 3/25, so March 25th, here in a couple days, the new gate system will be in place for parking at the airport. And we passed the FAA certification, and we did a great job, according to the FAA. Taxiway D design is complete. And there was a proposed 50-year lease with SAL and ESBD. The airport board approved advancement of that. So that'll come up for city and county potentially. And I think that's all I've got for now on that one. And then let Jessica speak to Counselor Klein speak to our other meeting.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Klein?
This is the first Public Works Action Committee meeting. It was very educational, a lot of talking about the different things going on in the community right now with the flooding and what they were doing about that, and the rock slide cleanup. And there was a new GIS map for projects being worked on that they're trying out, and their standards getting updated, And the transportation plan is being updated as well as the sidewalk master plan. And they have a few openings, so they're looking for good engineering input, members that have good backgrounds in that to join the committee.
Counselor Spickelmeyer.
Yeah, just the Parks and Rec, the March Parks and Rec Commission meeting was canceled due to lack of a quorum.
Thank you, Counselor. Next, we'll move to mayor comments. I actually have 3 of them tonight. First of them is the CETA 2026 annual meeting. Counselor Maury is not able to attend the banquet this year and is looking for substitutes. So if you have evening of Thursday, April 30th available, the CETA annual meeting will be in Orfino this year. And at the River's Edge Lodge in Orfino. So if you're interested and available in going, the NoHo Social starts at 5 o'clock. There's a dinner buffet at 5:45, a business meeting at 6, and then they plan to adjourn at 7:30. If we can get somebody there, just contact Council President Kleberg. If you'd contact Clerk Rocky, then she'll get you set up for that to represent the city. Thank you for doing that. The second item I have is Clerk Rocky sent out an email to get my dates right about a week ago, and it's in response to a request that you made of our friends at the county to have a special joint meeting to discuss ownership of the airport and operations of that. So I think we have it down to 2 dates, April 14th and April 15th. April 15th appears to be the preferred date at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We meet with our county commissioners. So if you don't have that information down, please put that down. Or if you have questions, please get a hold of Clerk Brock and she can help you with the details. But I know that they're interested and available. And then lastly, just to talk about America 250, which most of us have heard about. I've got my ambassador pin on tonight, showing my pride here. We have a point of contact for the city. Cheryl Maurer, our communications office, handles all that. But again, it's our 250th birthday, and so we're trying to our spirit and participate in these celebrations. And part of America 250, we're going to share our information with others around the state, and there's different types of, if you will, levels of sponsorship. You don't have to spend any money, but just to support the effort as an individual or city county ambassador, these kind of things. I can give you some information when we're done. If you have some questions, we do have, and I brought a copy of it, our logo, America 250 in Idaho, Lewiston, Ambassador City. And so I asked Clerk Rocky if we can maybe find a way to start incorporating that to some of our communications to show that we're part of this effort, and to support Idaho in this. If you have questions, you can contact my office, come by, or maybe contact the clerk's office. It's really easy to volunteer at the city clerk's office when I'm sitting up here, but I can help too. But we're trying to show our spirit. I think one of our big events is going to be on April 18th. We're going to do the Paul Revere ride from Hell's Gate State Park up the bike path, and you turn around and go back, and it'll be an educational thing. It'll be a lot of fun, a lot of folks out there, and Daughters of the American Revolution, maybe a couple of other groups are going to be joining us there. But it's a pretty exciting time, and there's opportunities to get involved. Item D, agenda topics. Councilors, do you have any? Council President Kleberg.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd make a motion that, and I'm not sure what date we do this on, but fairly soon, we need to have a chat about the unassigned building fund. What we're going to do with it, how much is in there. Primarily what we're thinking about doing with it.
Councilors, there's a motion.
Second.
It's been moved by Council President Kleberg, seconded by Council Spickmeyer to place the assigned building fund onto a future council meeting. And Council President Kleberg, if you just,
April will be probably too soon. Work session in May,
the May work session.
yeah.
Okay, that's the motion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried, so we'll put it on our May work session. Clerk Brockey, you have that? Okay, thank you. Councilors, anything else? If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Been moved by Councilor Forster, second by Council President Kleber to adjourn. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, council.
Then what do you need to know?